I've had addictions, not the kind people brag about overcoming, the kind you keep in the dark, the kind that eats your time, your focus, and your willpower, piece by piece. And for a long time, I told myself the same lie most men do. I can quit anytime I want. But the truth? I couldn't. Addiction had me by the throat. So I looked for a way out. Not through soft advice, not through cliches. I needed something sharper, something colder. And that's when I turned to Johan Liebert. Now don't get me wrong. Johan is a monster, a manipulator, a villain. But hidden beneath that darkness are tactics that, if you strip away the evil, are weapons for self-control. And I wanted to see if I could use them, not to destroy, but to rebuild. The first tactic I stole from Johan was detachment. He never got caught in emotions. He saw everything with cold clarity. So when cravings hit, instead of drowning in them, I stepped back. I looked at myself like an outsider, not as a victim of addiction, but as a man observing his own weakness. And let me tell you, that shift was brutal, because when you see yourself clearly, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. You face the truth. You're choosing the weakness, but that's also where the power begins. The second tactic was silence. Johan didn't fight battles with noise. He let silence do the work. So I stopped announcing to myself, I'm quitting. I'll never do it again. Because those words were empty. Instead, I shut up. I acted. When the urge came, I didn't argue with it. I didn't negotiate. I let the silence hang, and in that silence, the craving passed. Because action, not promises, breaks addiction. The third tactic: control the narrative. Johan could walk into any room and bend the story in his favor, and I realized I could do the same in my own head. For years, my narrative was, I can't stop. I'm weak. I'll always be this way. But I flipped it. I told myself, I am the man in control. I choose when to act. I decide who wins, me or the addiction. At first, it felt like a lie. But the more I repeated it, the more I started living it. Because here's the truth. The story you believe becomes the life you live. By the second week, things started to shift. The cravings didn't disappear, but they no longer felt like chains. They were whispers, and I had the power to ignore them. I had focus again. I had discipline. And for the first time in years, I felt like a man in control of himself. But here's the thing, I didn't become Johan. I didn't use these tactics to hurt anyone. I used them to break my own chains, and that's the difference between destruction and transformation. If you're listening to this right now and fighting your own addictions, whatever they are, let me tell you something. You don't need motivation. You don't need another pep talk. You need tactics. Cold, hard tactics. Detach yourself and see your weakness for what it is. Shut up and act. Don't waste energy making promises you'll break, and rewrite your story. Stop calling yourself a slave and start acting like the man in charge. That's how you break free. That's how you reclaim yourself. I tried Johan Liebert's tactics to break my addictions, and what I learned is this. The strongest weapon you'll ever have is control over yourself, because once you master that, nothing and no one can enslave you again.